Alright, hello students. Welcome to our first online class. We're going to be talking about quadratic inequalities today. Now, before we start, we're just going to go over a few rules of normal inequalities. That is, if you have x is greater than y, if you multiply that by -1 or divide by -1, what will happen is you will, in fact, switch the sign of the inequality. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, that rule is going to come in handy, especially for some of these questions. Now, over here we have a quadratic inequality. That means that it has a quadratic part of the inequality. Okay. We have this x squared that we're not normally used to. Now, to solve this as an inequality, first we need to solve it as just a normal equation. So x squared plus 3x is equal to 0. Now, to solve this is easy. We see that x is common, so we can say that is equal to x, bracket x plus 3, and that equals 0. Now, we know from our null factor law that x is going to equal 0 or x is going to equal -3. Okay, now what we can do now is we can plot this on a number line. So 0 and -3. Alright, and this is for x values. Okay, we see that these are two possible solutions for x squared plus 3 equals 0. But we want to take care of the inequality part as well. Now, to do that, what we do is we pick a solution. We either pick a solution inside the two numbers that we have or outside. So for now, we're going to start with a number outside. So a number outside 0 is, of course, 1. So we're going to give that a try. Okay? What we do is we take that and we substitute it back into our original equation. Alright, so if we substitute it in, we have 1 squared plus 3 times 1, is that less than 0? Okay, well we have 1 plus 3, is that less than 0? Is 4 less than 0? No, it is not. So our solution does not lie outside 0. Okay? We can also check on the back of outside the -3. So a solution right there might be -4. Okay? Once again, we can check that. All right, we have -4 all squared plus 3 times -4. Is that less than 0? Okay, well, -4 squared is 16. Plus -12. Is that less than 0? Well, is 4 less than 0? No, it is not. So, therefore, our solution does not lie outside our range. Okay, so what's the one place we haven't tried yet? Well, that is, in fact, inside. So let's pick a number in here. We can just pick the number -1. Okay, so let's try putting -1 in. We have -1 all squared plus 3 times -1. And is that less than 0? Well, we have 1 minus 3. Is that less than 0? Well, -2 is less than 0. So we found our solution. All that's left is to draw the solution on our number line. Now remember that when we're drawing inequalities, if it's a greater than or less than sign, we draw it by having an open circle because it does not include the number that it starts on. Okay? If we're drawing a greater than or equal to or a less than or equal to sign, what we do is we do a solid circle with a line, okay, to represent that it does include the number. Okay, so bear that in mind as you're doing these questions. What you'll do is we'll make our number line right here. Okay, we have 0 we have negative 3. Okay. Now remember we have a less than sign right there. So we are going to use a open circle and draw an arrow. And because it includes both of them, we draw like that. Okay, so you can have arrows there and arrows there. And that shows our solution right there. It is between negative 3 and 0. Now, in order to write that properly, we say that, well, x is greater than negative 3 and x is less than 0. Okay, x is greater than 3, greater than negative 3, and x is less than 0. You can write this as a continuous statement where you say 0 is greater than x, which is greater than negative 3. Alright, there's our solution to that problem. Okay, what we're going to do now is scroll down where, alright, there we go. We have a second problem right here. Alright, here we can see that not everything is on the same side of the solution. So what we need to do there is we simply just have to get it all back on the same side. This is where the quadratic part of it comes in. Alright, so to get it all over the same side, we just say, well, x squared, we're going to subtract negative 2x from both sides, we're going to subtract 3 from both sides, and that is greater than or equal to 0, because we've taken it both off that side. Alright, from here it's just a simple solution. We're going to solve for x squared minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. Alright, the solutions for that, we look at two numbers that add to give negative 2 and multiply to give negative 3. Okay, simple as negative 3 and 1. And positive 1. So our solution then is x minus 3, x plus 1 is equal to 0. Alright, so we can put that on our number line right now. Okay, that gives solutions of x equals 3 or negative 1. Alright, so there's x equals 3 and there's negative 1 right there. Alright, so we need to figure out whereabouts this solution is. So let's try first of all on the other side of 3, so that would be 4 right there. Okay, we'll give that a go. So we'll put it back into, you can use either the original equation or the one that we made below that. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to use the original equation right there. Sorry, let's fix up that 4. Okay, so we have 4 squared, is that greater than or equal to 2 times 4 plus 3, okay? 4 squared is 16, greater than or equal to 8 plus 3, that is 11, okay? That is correct, so our solution does extend out that way. Now, we just have to check inside the middle. Okay, the easiest number to check in here is 0, because it's just the easiest to plug into the equation. So we can do that quickly. We can say, is 0 squared, is that greater than or equal to 0 plus 3? Is 0 greater than 3? No. So we do not have a solution in the middle. Okay, we also want to check a solution on the back end. So negative 2 is a good one to try. Negative 2 all squared, is that greater than or equal to 2 times negative 2 plus 3? Okay, 4 is greater than or equal to negative 4 plus 3. 4 is greater than or equal to negative 1. That is also correct, so our solution also extends out in that direction. Okay, so now we can just graph it properly. Okay, here's our number line. We have 3, we have -1. Okay, now remember what I said before, we have a greater than or equal to sign, so we're going to use a solid circle. Solid circle out that way, solid circle out that way. Okay, that represents our solution. We can write this as x is less than or equal to -1 and x is greater than or equal to 3. Okay, we do need to write this solution separately as it does not have a continuous area that it covers. It in fact has a break in it. So 2 separate solutions right there. All right, we'll go to our last example now. And that is this one right here. This one's a little tricky because it has a bit of an advanced quadratic equation right there. So, of course, we'll start off by getting it all over the one side. So 6x squared plus 11x plus 3 is less than or equal to 0. Okay, we want to solve for 6x squared plus 11x plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, a good way to do it is the PSF method. Remember, that is product, sum, and factors. Okay, so the product is the multiple of the first and the last term. Okay, that gives us 18x squared. Okay, the sum is the middle term, that is 11x, and we simply want 2 numbers that multiply to give -18 and times together, multiply to give 18 and add together to give 11. 2 numbers that come to mind, they should both be positive numbers. So we got 6 and 3. No, not 6 and 3. 9 and 2. So 9x and 2x. Okay, so here we have 9x and 2x. Those are our 2 factors. So we can rewrite this as 6x squared plus 9x plus 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, we can start to factor this, so we can take 3x out of both of those. 3x, and that gives us 2x plus 3 plus 2x plus 3 equals 0. Okay, we can factorize that again, and we have 3x plus 1 plus 1 multiplied by 2x plus 3, because that over here has a 1 out in front. Okay, so 3x plus 1, 2x plus 3 equals 0. Now that we have this solution, we can solve for x individuals. So this gives a solution of x is equal to -1/3, or x is equal to -3/2. All right, let's plot those solutions on a number line right now. And you get better at drawing straight lines. You know what? I think you can do a shape. Okay, there we go. So, we have -1/3 right there, and we have -3/2 right there. Alright, so we're going to need to check a number over this side. Easiest number over this side is 0. We always use 0 if we can, just because it's the easiest one to substitute in. Alright, let's have a look at our top equation right there. We have 6 times 0 plus 11 times 0, is that less than or equal to -3? Well, is 0 less than negative 3? No. So we're not going to use that one right there. Okay, we will check a solution inside. Okay, so inside that we could go negative 2/3. Okay, that will give us a solution. We could also do negative 1. Negative 1 is going to be the easiest because it's definitely in between those two, but it's going to be a whole number. Alright, so we have 6 times negative 1 all squared plus 11 times negative 1. Is that less than or equal to negative 3? Well, let's say 6 minus 11. Is that less than negative 3? Yes, okay, because negative 5 is less than negative 3. So we do have a solution inside. Now we do need to check just on this side. We can use negative 2 as our thing. Here's 6 times negative 2 all squared plus 11 times negative 2. Is that equal to less than or equal to negative 3? Let's have a look. 6 times 4 gives us 24. Minus 22, is that less than or equal to negative 3? Well, 2 is not less than or equal to negative 3. So again, that is not our solution. So our solution is purely inside. Now we have a less than or equal to sign. So don't forget we use solid circles, right? And that goes inwards like that, and inwards like that. Okay, so again, to write it, we can write negative 3 over 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to negative 1 over 3. That right there is our solution, and we are done. Now, I don't want you skipping any steps. I will be checking on your working out afterwards, so please make sure you do a thorough job on it. Alright, thank you for listening. I hope that helps with your work.